Welcome to Startup Out of the Box with Silva and Vitor Domingos.
On this episode, we'll discuss the financial impact of startups on its founders and employees, and mentorships and tormentorship. I'll talk to you about that word later.
Yeah, this is going to be our two main topics today. So let's start with the financial impact on of startups, on founders, and also on employees.
Yes.
So you're going to share a link with our listeners about this on Medium. And start. What do you have to say about this then?
So this is an article by Mike Knapp where he talks about startups that are financial suicide. So, and the main thing about this article that I think it's important for people to read and also to realize is we talk about the media talks about startups as like a magical world of unicorns and of magical bliss and money, and there's always a lot of money going on, but in reality there's always a risk when you create a startup. So that's why
there's a lot of startups that actually fail.
Exactly.
And entrepreneurs that fail constantly.
The stats are around 90% of the startups fail.
Yeah.
So there's always a financial impact that the founder or the employees are going to suffer if the startup fails. Yes, you can have VC money, but that only helps you up to some point.
Yeah,
they help you run the company, but if you don't deal with the finances of the company properly, the startup will fail. That doesn't, the VC money won't help you in the long run. So
usually what startups have is they have this kind of initial investment on them. It could be seed investment, whatever series they have, whatever. They can have this kind of initial money, or they can just bootstrap, so they can start from scratch themselves. Or then what happens is that either they raise more money into the company, or they actually have a product that they can sell and people can actually use that. So what happens is that for startups to fail, financial issues is probably one of the reasons. It's not only the only reason for startups and entrepreneurs to fail, but it's actually one of the biggest biggest reason for startups to fail.
And it's usually one of the biggest tips that most founders give. Is one of the first things that when the people ask them, like, if you do it again, what would you do different, or what would you like to know when you started? And most of them tell the same thing. For me, when I started, I would like to have a financial advisor or a CFO or someone that understands about finance when I started the company, so they could explain to me what's happening and how to calculate the burn rates and stuff like that. So it's something that most people don't really think about until it's too late.
And I understand that, but also if you are an entrepreneur and you're starting a startup, you need to have that kind of gut feeling of you're not going to need a lot of detail on finance because you believe in your company, you believe in the stuff that you're actually doing, and you need to focus there, right? So you need to find kind of a balance between what actually what kind of money do you have in the bank for you to pay salaries, but also for you to be comfortable to be developing the product that you are developing without having to think about raising money, dealing with finance and stuff like that. Most of the startups, they can just hire the finance director or any kind of advisor. That's one of the problems. I remember when I had my startup, we had an accountant, so someone that could take care of our accounts, could pay salaries and that kind of stuff, and it was quite expensive. But it didn't provide any kind of help when it came to actually managing finances and stuff like that. So it's just kind of a broker for employees, for HR, for paying taxes on time. So there was this kind of gap of what kind of financial advisor can we get from either the accountant or someone else that could provide this.
Yeah, but also one of the topics that, the startup there's that gap knowledge, like you mentioned, founders don't know, or it's hard to find people to help the financial of the startup. So the other point is the finance of the founder or the employees, because if the startup fails, you as a founder, you invested a lot of your money and you might lose your entire savings creating the startup, and that's one of the biggest risks that people don't think. They think, I have enough, I have 100k in the bank, I have some savings from different places. So, and I'll be able to I'll be comfortable, I'll be able to recover the money. But reality is, if most startups fail, you won't recover that money back. So you might invest your entire savings and you might lose everything. And that's a risk that most people don't realize that might happen. And also for employees, you could work for a big company. You could go for Amazon or Facebook or whatever big company and get a nice salary. Or you can go to a startup, you get a short cut in your salary, get virtual currency like a stock, because while the company is in the initial phases, that stock
there's
is
no value.
Yeah, it's zero of zero is zero. So it's like if you have 10% of zero, it's zero. It doesn't. There's no value into it until the IPO or the company gets sold, and that's the risk. Like you're taking that gambling bet that the company will get sold or IPO, and your stock will. But if it fails, again, you could have earned a lot of shit ton of money somewhere else, and you get it after 3 years. Okay, you get more knowledge.
Usually, the kind of comparison that I do for that kind of stage of should I work for a company, comfortable company like Google, Facebook, and Amazon and stuff like that, or should I go for a startup? The analogy that I use is around the train, right? So if you get on early to the platform, you get the best seat and a better seat on the train. If you get there almost when the train is about to leave, you don't. Well, here in the UK, you're not going to have a seat. Actually, you need to stand up and you need to go the whole trip from let's say London to Manchester standing up.
In London, so if you want to get a seat, you have to go like 4 hours before.
Exactly. So it's kind of the same with the startups, right? So you need to be there before everyone else. You're gonna get a better seat. And at the end, probably you're gonna get something out of the stock options. But it's a risk that employees need to take and need to think. Either they should work for a standard, normal, already with a lot of money kind of company, or they should go to a startup. But also, and I think that we're just kind of moving from this kind of subject. What happened here is also. When you need to get those when you are a big company and you need to retain a potential employee that could either start a startup, can be an entrepreneur, or can even work for a startup, that creates this kind of gap with along the salaries, right? Because let's say if I have someone within my startup that has a great idea and I don't invest in him or her, the chances are that they could leave, they can start their own startup. What happens is there's a kind of fake inflation of salaries, of value, at least in the United States. That's also what...
In Silicon Valley, that's one of the biggest.
Exactly. So you need to pay more for the people. So for your employees, don't leave the company, you need to start their own
and
stuff.
You see like people already talking about Silicon Valley, but also different areas in the United States where you have engineers getting salaries of 100, 200, 300, 400k a year. Of course, if you're an engineer that earns 400k a year, like why would you leave to open your own startup? Like the risk would be too high for the value that you get salary wise. Imagine that you get the 400k, stay there for 5 years, look at the money you're gonna have in your savings account. Like why would I bother? And even to get fired from a company like that in a position like that, you need to screw up big time. So
but again. Sure, but the thing is, it also depends on the kind of responsibilities that you have. So if you're young and you don't have a family, you don't have kids, you don't have a lot of bills to pay.
But those kind of values make you think twice. Like, leave and start from zero and earn nothing, or stay comfortable with my massive salary,
or stay and save and then start your company with your savings, which gonna be bigger than the ones that you have at this moment.
So, and you can bootstrap and depend on investors.
Exactly. So there's a bunch of options. But the main topic is for this one is the kind of financial burden that this creates on on entrepreneurs and also on employees. And I think that we touched these kind of two areas. Should we move to the next subject?
Topic number 2, mentors.
Probably for the subject for LinkedIn. We don't know the length of each section of the podcast today, but let's try to split. Let's try to put both on LinkedIn actually this time. So the last one is going to probably a bit more funnier than the first one. It's about mentor or tormentor. So either we get someone that can actually help us on creating the startup, on giving us some interesting tips and some interesting insights and help us, or should we get someone that is also a naysayer and everything that we do is always wrong? I think that for those, we already have our own family and friends that usually they do that when we have a startup.
There was a worried about it, yeah.
Yeah, some of them, not all. The other ones are quite hard to find. So a proper mentor. How are you going to find a mentor? How you actually pitch to the mentor that you need his or her kind of help on your startup, and how do you take their advice? What's your thoughts on that, Marco?
Well, it's hard to find mentors. Usually, and I can see there's a lot of startups coming out that their business model is helping people find mentors, because it's something difficult, because usually a mentor is someone that has expertise in your area, that can help you because they've already been there, done that, so they can advise you of don't do this, do it like that because of this and this, so they can assist you in your path. And it's quite difficult to find a mentor, but even if it's just personal growth, it implies someone that you have knowledge, that you trust above everything, that you trust their knowledge, their capabilities, and they can guide you the correct way. And that's harder to find. So, but then you can also go to coach-wise.
Yeah, coach. Yeah,
a coach can be just a friend. It doesn't need to be someone that has knowledge on the area.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be an expert, but it's someone that can help you through your ideas. Can
help you with the culture.
Yeah.
And also the environment. Yeah. Let's keep in mind that Google had for decades a coach that was actually an NFL coach as well.
Yeah.
And he was training the senior executives at Google to be better on managing teams and expectations and that kind of stuff. So it wasn't proper mentorship when it comes to products or technology, but actually how to deal with people that work
and
with
it's
you.
not telling them how to do it. It's more guiding them with questions and training their thought so that they can realize what's the right path to do, because it's going to be different from each side. And a coach doesn't need to know the company, but he just needs to know how to guide the person to the right answer.
Exactly.
And that's more important than the mentor. The mentor will just tell you, like, don't do this, do that. While a coach will try to make you understand the path. It won't tell you what to do, but it will make you think until you get to the answer that you're happy with.
Well, a coach is pretty much like a PT, right? A personal trainer. It helps you to achieve this kind of goal.
Yeah.
The mentor is the kind of book that you read about a diet and stuff like that, right?
Or the doctor.
Yeah, the doctor. Like exactly. You need to do this. You need to get a PT. Let's get the coach. So the mentor usually happens in the beginning when you start your company, but also can happen at any time that you think that you need this kind of external help. And as you said, I think that my best advice I could give to anyone is actually find someone that already done the same things that you did, got through the same kind of problems, has an idea about the market, and at the end got the t-shirt, right? You could got the right size of t-shirt, or you can even go naked afterwards because of their financial burden and problems.
You have to sell the t-shirt.
Exactly, you have to sell the t-shirt. But bottom line, have someone that could actually help you to achieve this kind of path, and talk to them regularly, and in confidence, obviously, to better understand how can you get to your own goals.
So, and how do you find the tormentor?
The tormentor. Well, I started with that. The tormentor is pretty much the mentor that tells you that everything is wrong, everything you're doing it's wrong, it's not right, you're not gonna hit your target, this and that. I had a kind of mixed feeling when I had my own startup. So I was working for the Ministry of Justice back then. My kind of CEO was Mario Valente. And I remember talking to him saying, well, I need to create my own startup and it needs to be like this. And I remember him telling me that I would have a bunch of problems. And he just said, well, you're going to have this and this, and you're going to face something around here, and don't create a startup with just one more founder, create with 3 or 5. This kind of ideas and stuff that he put on me. And I remember listening to all of this and telling him, I understand your point of view, but for my own personal experience, I need to go through these problems to better understand how to be an entrepreneur and how to be better. So I was kind of aware. So I had this kind of mixed feelings of, okay, this guy is giving really good advice, but I'm not going to take it because I want actually to face the kind of problems.
And also something important is investors are not mentors.
Oh no, they are just there for the money and for the
investors
return.
are there for their profit. So they will guide you what's best for them, not for you.
Exactly.
Of course, sometimes it mixes. What's best for you is also what's best for them, but most of the times they are expecting the best return for them, and that might, for example, in some startups, when investors come one day to the board meeting and tell you, like, yeah, you're the founder and CEO of the company, but we don't want you to be the CEO anymore.
Yeah,
we want someone else to be the CEO.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they're worried about their output and not yours. So
yeah,
you have to be careful.
Well, they're worried about their money and their return, right?
Exactly.
So, and they think that if the best for their money for the company is to take you out of the equation, they're just going to do that.
Yeah.
The mentor is usually the guy that says, well, if you're going to do this, probably you're going to face some issues with your investors.
Yeah.
So be careful with that.
Yeah, try doing this, talk to them about this before. Yeah.
And the coach is pretty much the guy that says, well, listen, you're not paying enough attention to your own company culture. Yeah. This kind of, you're going to have this kind of problems with your own employees, or the kind of stuff that you say on a meeting is actually wrong. You need to change your attitude and stuff like that. So I think that we need those three, right? Yeah. So the ones that keep you in line with the money that you need to spend, the ones that could give you probably good advice, and then the ones that could help you to achieve grow the best of the company and you within your own area, and then the tormentors. So the naysayers, everyone else that says that you're going to fail. And probably you're going to fail at the end, because we discussed this in the first part of the episode.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, they're going to fail. But I think that the most important is that people should enjoy the ride, and they should learn from that ride. And that's, well, pretty much it for my side.
Yeah. That's it.
And that's it. Episode number 10 of Startup Out of the Box. Almost a full season, so probably we're going to go up until episode 11. Or not, or we're just going to continue this. So, guys, if you have any kind of comments or any questions, just put them, or even on
comments,
LinkedIn,
Twitter,
comments, whatever.
Yeah.
We are online, and let's see you on next episode. Cheers.
Cheers.